Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, Chicopee, and South Hadley, Mass. Now you give these tours and lead these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yes. The Providence Hospital is very interested, and I hope you like this discussion.
So, list the locations of the Providence Hospital over the last 150 years.
Okay. So, the Providence Hospital was started in 1873 by the Sisters of Providence. They came from Kingston, Ontario. And the first location was on Crescent Street in South Hadley. It lasted there for 1 year, and then they moved it to Holyoke, and they moved it to a location across from the modern-day post office of Holyoke. Now, this location is stayed at, and it grew. They actually put an enormous facade or addition to it. So it was a wooden structure which housed the first rectory of St. Jerome's Church, and it also had some home there. And that structure they made greatly, and that was in the year 1893. So, in these pictures on my website, we can actually see the beautiful structure as they made it. And then lastly, in 1958, they made a new structure, and that was on Route 5, Northampton Street, the last bit of Holyoke in the south. And that hospital is still there. And as of last year, year 2022, they finally renamed it from Providence Hospital to Mira Vista Hospital. And so the 149-year history of Providence Hospital finally ceased. Now, the hospital in South Hadley, after a year, and then a year went away, and then it came back. It came back for 3 more years after that. So there was 2 Providence hospitals going. Now that one is still there on Crescent Street. It looks like a gorgeous building. Part of it was added after the fact, but the original hospital is still there. And you have to wonder if people living there even know that.
Now, what is the early history of the hospital?
Okay, so it started in 1873 when these sisters came down from Ontario, and they became the first Catholic hospital in Western Massachusetts ever. And the first name of it was the Asylum of the House of Providence, and it was staffed by these nuns. And their name before 1891 was the Sisters of Charity of Providence. And after it became an order separate from the one in Ontario, their names became the Sisters of Providence. Now, when it moved into Holyoke, it became mostly, it was very, very small, the size of maybe 2 houses together, and mostly they served very ill younger people, and they decided to make it grow larger, and that was in 1883 when they kept the back wooden houses, but they built an enormous structure around it, and they raised it another floor and made a brick facade. Right, and this beautiful wooden structure lasted until 1958, when they gave it over to the city of Holyoke and they knocked it down. Now, it had, in 1940, another addition put onto it, which was a pharmacy and a laboratory. And there were other buildings around there, including, to its side, there was a daycare started in the year 1916. It was called Holyoke Day Nursery. And they also started in that building a maternity hospital a few years before that. And 2 buildings to the east, there was the home for rookie nurses. So a lot was going on in this area. Now, this building has always been staffed by superiors. They weren't the absolute superiors of Sisters of Providence, but they were assistant superiors, and they would run the hospital as a separate unit from the Sisters of Providence. It was a great system.
And before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to sign up for any of the various tours or find out more information, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltours.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up your private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun and educational outdoor activities for the whole family or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. And they are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, why is the hospital so important in the history of Holyoke?
All right, it was the first hospital in Holyoke. It served the Catholic religion. Then there was no city hospital yet. That came in 1890, and that mostly served the Protestants. So just by having a hospital greatly changed the mentality of the people. And more doctors and nurses were being trained, and there actually was a nursing school in Holyoke associated with the Providence Hospital. And so you had healthcare start with the Catholics with a beautiful building downtown with easy access. And there were many doctors around. There was a Dr. Mativier that served the people from Quebec. There was a Dr. J.J. O'Connor that served the people from Ireland mostly, and he started his own surgical hospital. And there was other healthcare providers around the whole city. So this really got going, and by the end, I believe that 5 hospitals started up in Holyoke, and you probably only know of 2 of them.
And what has happened to medical care in the last half century?
Okay, the medical care has changed drastically, obviously, and in Holyoke, it changes just like all other places. And so, for instance, the Providence Hospital, as about 20 years ago, went to being a place that would help only those with mental health issues. And, for instance, the nurses' school associated with the Providence Hospital was gone. It lasted for a very long time. It was first on Dwight Street, then they moved up to Essex Street, and then they moved into the Providence Hospital. So a lot of changes are in play. And there's very few doctors that work out of the houses. So Mativier and Dr. J.J. O'Connor, that style is long gone. They would actually do surgeries right inside of their residential medical establishments. So medicine has changed drastically. It's become more centralized, and it's become more covered by insurance. Now, one thing to note is that also, even the Providence Hospital, during the last decades when it started going into other changes, would, for instance, get rid of their maternity wing, so they weren't even delivering babies anymore. So medicine has changed because of insurance, because of liability, and because of society, and it's become more centralized.
So thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours, and we want to thank our listeners again for tuning in. And you can tune to a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's holyokecanaltours.org. And you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to check out his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available.